Welcome back. Here we are again. Early Suffolk 14-inch. Today's video we're going to be doing primer and paint. So since last week I've actually had quite a good week. Managed to get on, and as you can see there's some boxes of goodies behind me. I did get a bit of time in the evening and I actually sprayed the parts at work. It's always a problem with spraying, that it's always the overspray seems to go everywhere and it's finding somewhere to do it. I seem to have that problem anyway. I'm sure I'm not the only one, unless of course you've got a nice professional spray booth, which I don't have. So yes, I had to sort of pick an evening. We had a nice evening, did it one evening quite late, and there was nobody about, so the overspray I don't think bothered anybody. So I've got all the green done, and I think it went quite well, and I haven't got any runs on it, so yeah. What I did use is it's quite a good little gun. I used one of these little, it's called a fast mover, and it's just a little mini, obviously a little mini spray gun with only a little container. And I think probably when you're doing small amounts, like it's only a small mower, probably a way of possibly saving paint, I don't know, maybe not so wasteful, but it seemed to work quite well. I mean, the only thing I wasn't sure of, and no doubt there's experts out there watching, when I mixed the paint, obviously you can't get much in there, but I mixed, it was 100 mils of cellulose, yeah, the cellulose green, and I added, I think it was 40 mils of thinners. I'm never quite sure whether it's enough thinners or, yeah, whether it's too much or not enough. I'm never really sure. But what's sort of odd, I don't think there's a lot of parts here. We'll go through it a little bit in a bit, but I seem to use quite a lot of paint. So whether those experts out there no doubt will tell, whether I could have used a bit more thinners to water it down, I don't know. But I've used, this is 500 mils. I've used certainly 3/4 of this. And I'll go through quickly what I've painted. So it's not a huge amount of painting, but maybe I didn't thin it down enough. Maybe I've just been a bit wasteful with it. But anyway, we'll go through my little box of goodies. So I'll try to wrap it up so I don't scratch it all up. So we've got the cutting cylinder, which as you can see, I think you probably waste quite a lot of paint doing a cutting cylinder. You seem to, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, the cutting cylinder seems to have come up all right. So we've got that. The chain cover. Which is that. Obviously a little bit pitted, but I mean it's not terribly glossy, so whether I needed to put more paint on it, I don't know, but maybe it's not a bad thing. It's an old mower, and if it looked too shiny, maybe it would spoil it, I don't know. So we've got that, we've got the cutting cylinder, we've got the other back plate, which obviously only paint one side. You've got your gears there, done the blade carrier, bottom blade carrier. That I suppose took a reasonable amount of paint. So we've got that. Handlebars. So we've got those. Throw a plate. the side frames, car side frames. I've got one there. What did I do? Yeah, I did originally 2 coats of primer, and then I've done 2 coats of top. We've got that one, so we've got the other side frame. And the engine platform. Looks like the paint sort of blisters, but I think it's just the pitting of the metal. I always sort of get the feeling, as to say, I suppose that's the difference between somebody like me spraying and a professional, but there's always areas that you know you've missed a little bit, you've not put enough paint on. But yeah, that's the difference between me and a professional sprayer. So we've got that, we've got 2 tie rods, those, and in the bucket, what have we got there? Part of the clutch drum, dog bit. Clutch drum itself. Oh yeah, these are 2 bearing housings. I don't know why, but they seem to be the sort of glossiest out of the lot. I don't know. Not that it matters. Anyway, so I've got those. I've got to clean out where the bearing sits. And obviously put my oil nipples back in. Put 2 of those. And what else have we got? Oh yes, we've got the roller, front roller brackets. 2 of those. And I think finally, oh yeah, so just the sleeves for the adjusters on the cutting cylinder. So I think, apart from the grass box, which I haven't got one, I'm hoping to get one, which would take quite a bit of green. I've sprayed all the green stuff. The rear roller, let's have a look. I did that in satin black. I mean, a lot of rollers are normally, they paint them grey. But I've found satin black's quite good, because once you start rolling it on the ground and you get a few scratches in it, and maybe a bit of rust, I think if it's black it doesn't look quite so bad. But anyway, I've stuck with the green spaces on the end there. I think it looks all right, so that's come up all right. But we didn't need much green there. So I think that was about it for the green paint. I wasn't, as I said to you, I wasn't very happy with the orange. So I'm gonna see. I've got a feeling I might have some dark red, and I will just try a little bit of that. I'll mix a little bit and see if I can darken it up a bit. And the orange I had, or I've got, I think is a bit light. So I'm going to work on that, see if I can get that a little bit darker. But I'm quite happy with the colour on the green. I think that's all right. But I've still got lots to do with the mower. I've got to sharpen the bottom blade. That's got to be done. Get that, even though it's a new one. Yeah, I'm going to put that on the grinder. And then the cutting cylinder itself, that needs to be put on the grinder. Yeah, I think once I've done those, gone through the bearings again, grease them up nicely, then we'll think about putting it back together at some point. But even sort of cleaning all the nuts and bolts up and some of the silly little bits, it's surprising what you've got out of these things. So we've got all those already started, cleaning some of the nuts and bolts up, but like anything, there's always lots of little extra bits that you need doing, so there is plenty to do. It was nice to get the green done. It was good. So try and make a bit more progress. And the other thing I've been sort of I keep looking at it, the engine. Quite curious to see what sort of condition it's in, and I've decided, I think whatever happens, because we're doing the rest of it, I'm going to strip the engine regardless and put piston rings in it and gaskets and give it a good once over, and obviously repaint the engine. But I think I'm sort of quite curious to know what the cylinder's like in the piston. Anyway, it is, as you gathered, it's just you and me, so I'm going to bring you in closer, and then we're going to take the head off and then just see what the piston's like in there. Obviously it all turns over. There's no compression. I mean, it could be as simple as the valves, very likely to be rusty or whatever, the seats. But knowing how old it is, if it hasn't had piston rings, it probably needs it. So anyway, I'm going to get you in closer, and then we're going to have a look, and then just see what sort of condition the engine is in. So I'm probably going to prop you up a little bit. So let's have a go. Right. Now, see if we can do this. See what's going on. So there we go. Right, let's take the head off. So we'll take the plug out first. That's something I needed to do, that clutch, so I'll take that off at some point, clean it, and obviously I need to paint that green. Yeah, I'm really pleased with this engine, because I think apart from it doesn't have the original carburettor, whiz it round, it's got the later carburettor, even though it's a Zenith, it's not the early Banjo feed, but I have got one thanks to good old eBay. Managed to pick one up. Air filter's right, which is nice, so I can use that. The exhaust pipe is right, and yeah, it's got, which they're quite flimsy, these engine cowlings, which is quite nice, and it also tells you the model there, which this one is. I think it's a 1H. Yeah, these normally they're very, you can see as you tighten the cylinder head, because that's what holds it on, it sort of screws it round a bit, and these do break off, and quite often these little cowlings are not with the engine when you get them, and they're quite difficult to get on their own, so I'm always pleased when I get an engine with one, so it's a bonus. And of course we've got the original cylinder head on there as well, which the later ones they've got more cooling fins, and it does seem to be with these early ones. I've had a few of these where they seem to have distorted a little bit. I've had to reface them on a couple of them, and I'm guessing it's because they probably got a little bit hotter than they needed to. Hence why they obviously changed over to the later type cylinder head. I don't think I've got one to hand to show you, but the later one's got got finer cooling fins and there's more of them. I guess it was something they found they needed to do. Difficult to get a good grip on that. Tight. So I'll take our cover off. Right, so I'm guessing you can see what's going on, so let's just tip him up a little bit. Now, so I think we can probably see why it's got no compression. Mr. Exhaust valve is stuck open. Quite typical on engines that have been sitting. And it doesn't look too oily in there. It's a nice bit of carbon. Let's just put the piston down the bore a bit and then just see what movement we've got in it. So, just prop that up a little bit if we can. Let's see what that's got. Just go down a little bit. I mean, there's a bit on there. Just go and have a look at that. Just to get a rag and see what that cylinder looks like. Yeah, I mean, even the cylinder you can see looks good, doesn't it? Little wear on it. I mean, these cast iron engines are so good, you know, it's not very often they're really knackered. I mean, if anything, it would be worn and you'd have a lip and then maybe you'd have to get it rebored. Where you get an oversized piston from, I don't know. But standard rings are available. But I think with a strip down, hone the bore, piston rings, and then we'll grind the valves in. I think this is going to make a good engine. Let's see what the cylinder head itself looks like. Yeah, I mean, you can see it's you know, it's not what I call been using oil or little. Looks quite good, doesn't it? Just pop that back on. That's always nice to know. So. I'm going to probably just put the spark plug loosely back in it and then keep the dirt and dust out. There you go. I suppose it shows you, look. I mean, that's an old plug, isn't it? Made in England Lodge. Very nice. In fact, that will probably clean up all right and spark, I've got no doubt. Right, well, there we go. So let's put you back over there. Trying to be super smooth with my filming if possible. There we go, right. Good, right. Only a fairly short video. So yes, I've got plenty to get on with. I may get the cylinder ground next week, the bottom blade, see how we get on. And I'm quite keen to start on the red bits on the engine. So I think I'll probably end up taking the cowling off and a fuel tank, getting those probably sandblasted, and then I'm going to have a go at this paint, see if I can get that somewhere near closer. Still plenty to do, but there you go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I've got some progress. We'll be doing another one next week, or it will be the week after. So see how we go, and again, thank you for watching.